matched with my other one. So, hey, here we are being captured on a camera.
Huh.
So,
Well, anyway,
but everything's
I
working. We're good.
yeah, I started recording just so that like we don't if in case we stumble upon any gold nuggets,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
we don't miss them. Um,
Okay.
so I am a crappy interviewer, and I don't like prepare questions ahead of time or anything.
That's totally fair.
Uh, but I think that the thing that I'm most excited. No, there's so many things that I'm most excited about, but one of the things that
Okay.
I'm most excited to talk to you about is you had said when we were watching the Sharky premiere together,
Mm-hmm.
you had said like, I know a lot of the practices that will get me success, and I purposefully don't do them.
That is very, very true with me. Like, so like back in October of last year, I stopped streaming completely because I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm gonna focus on YouTube and I'm gonna get a month of uploads done. Every day is gonna be an upload. And then February rolled around, the month I said I was gonna upload every day, and I uploaded 3 videos.
Okay.
It's like, okay. So it's and more recently, one thing that has become crystal clear to me is I didn't understand anything about YouTube thumbnails
Mm.
until Zombie told me what actually you're supposed to do. Because I thought it was you make a good thumbnail that people want to click on, which is, I think, when you're growing, not the case.
Right.
You're trying to color code it for the YouTube algorithm to pick it up,
Right.
which is an absolutely shocking revelation for me as someone who just takes a screenshot from a video, puts some text on it, and calls it a thumbnail.
Yeah.
Uh, Zombie comes in and he starts saying, "Hey, let me just read you some thumbnails for you." So he redid a thumbnail on a video that was 2 weeks old, and the week I switched it over, it doubled in views,
Oh my
and
goodness gracious.
I was like, there could almost be a strategy to this where you change the thumbnail to keep it relevant, but I haven't
Yeah,
actually looked into that.
that's
So that
interesting.
might be a strat, but um and then every single video that has had one of his thumbnails has done very well. And every single video that I've done the thumbnail for has not done well. But uh it's a really interesting thing because
Yeah.
I think a lot of people who make YouTube videos just think thumbnails aren't important, or they're thinking about them completely incorrectly,
Well, I think
which
like one of the big struggles is like a lot of people think that in order to be successful as a content creator, you just need to create good content and then
yeah.
people will find it and then you'll be great, you'll be successful. But that's like
Yeah.
not true at all because it's all about not it's not all about creating good content is definitely important because you can use all the algorithms in the world, and it's not going to matter if you're crap.
Yeah.
But it is also about like like understand, and that's why I think that like education is like stream and content creation education is so important because if you're creating quality content but you don't know like that you need to have really big fork off text on your thumbnails so that YouTube
Yeah.
can read it and pick it up and promote it to people, like your videos are not going to be able to double in views when Zombie creates new
Exactly.
thumbnails.
Exactly. I'd make thumbnails and I'd be like, oh, the text is big enough, right? And it's really half the size you think it is because you're looking at it at least half the screen size or the full screen size, and everybody sees it smaller than the cameras we see on Discord right now, and
Right.
it's crazy. I had something and then it just totally left,
I
but
all the it'll come back to you all the time. I have
yeah.
that. Also, I love that you're wearing your merch. It makes me really happy.
It actually just happened to be the most comfortable shirt I felt
Total
as I grabbed into my shirt drawer this morning. I was like,
total
oh,
coincidence, but it is so beautifully timed.
Yeah, no, I definitely didn't plan it at all. And then when I saw I actually had put it on this morning, I was like, oh well, guess I'll just chill a little bit.
Perfect. So
Um,
that is one piece that I want to like delve into, delve in with you on is like, uh, because I think that a lot of content creators sort of get frustrated about that piece, about the piece of like I should be able to just create good content and have it be seen.
yeah.
And so I guess my question is like the like your experience of any like sort of like frustrations or anything like that uh to
To
do
do
with
with
that.
like the more creative, bigger videos or sort of thing, or
I guess like because
the
I think I'm unusual in that the business side of creativity I actually really enjoy. Like that's part of
Mhm.
the creativity for me. And I think that for a lot of people, and I get an impression that it might be like this for you, that side of it is frustrating. But I don't know if that's true, and I want to delve into that with you.
uh the business side of it is honestly for me it's not really a side I even attempt to delve into.
For
Like
sure.
I don't really try to I've made attempts at it in the past, but I don't really try to monetize my content anymore cuz
Okay.
I don't have the base for it, which is something I've recognized there's no real point in trying to nickel and dime it, so to speak. But in terms of like uh, uh making good content to just make putting any sort of content out there, the some of the best videos on my channel are ones that I've made in under an hour
Mm-hmm.
for just memes.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said about a balance between posts that are your stuff you want to make and then posts that are more likely to go viral than just your common content. Because that's a thing about Twitch clips that is something people don't really market on enough or grasp enough, is that clips have you can download a clip, you can put it on Twitter, and that has the potential to do really well and bring in new people.
Right.
Uh, I recently had something like that happen where I put a tweet out on Twitter. It got retweeted by people I know, and it did better than any YouTube video I've released in like 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's there's something to be said about wanting to grow on platforms like Twitch and being able to use the content you have on it to use other platforms like Twitter,
Yeah.
which is an amazing platform, as I know from my Mickey Mouse meme account.
Yes.
um,
Definitely want to delve more into that, but let's keep
yeah,
going.
so I mean, Twitter is really a platform that is, in some ways, absolute garbage, but in a lot of ways, very, very helpful at growing.
Yeah.
I mean, you just need one tweet to be seen by the right person, and you can get 70,000 eyes on it in a day, and
Right.
it's 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 got discoverability like no other platform really has, and that's amazing with how many people are on it.
Yeah.
That's and if you can capitalize on that, you can really start seeing growth. Like I think there's a streamer that goes by the name of like Paladin Amber,
Mm-hmm.
who is average about 500 viewer streamer. I think I don't know. I don't watch them that much, but I am constantly seeing clips of her on Twitter, and it's her Twitter audience is absolutely huge, and that transfers over.
Yeah.
And Twitch is not the platform to grow on,
Right.
but there are many platforms that can easily take Twitch content and give you that growing effect you're looking for.
Yeah. So we're like already sort of like stumbling upon a really Something that is becoming a more and more popularized idea in the modern sort of like Twitch meta,
Yeah.
which is that everyone is starting to recognize that Twitch is not a discoverability platform. Much like because I'm a slut for Patreon, much like Patreon, it's not a discoverability platform. It's really like
Yeah.
the way that Patreon talks about it is like we are a place for like when you already have an audience, we're a place to like take that audience and turn them into like super fans, like members, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so with Twitch, like it's no longer enough to just be a streamer. Like if you were like just getting into the streaming game now and you
Mhm.
are just streaming on Twitch and that's all you're doing, like the chances of actually like if you just want to play video games and like and have it go out
Yeah.
into a black hole, like go for it. But
Yeah.
if you have any desire for any sort of growth, like you have to diversify the platforms that you're on. And so
Well,
like yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
and something I caught in your one with Sharky was you had actually like thought about what audience you're going for.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people do that. I certainly don't do that.
I
I'm just like I want to be a Keck W channel. I want to make people laugh.
well,
I'm
but
not a PogChamp channel. I'm a Keck W channel.
I think that even that speaks to a certain kind of target market. Like because for me, I've never had like throughout my entire life, like before streaming, I was really into Magic, not Magic the Gathering, but like literally like magic tricks.
Yeah,
Like I performed at the I used to perform at the Magic Castle in Hollywood.
that's
Um,
awesome.
and but throughout all of my different like hobbies, like I've never had an actual mentor, like a lot of magicians that I knew like had a mentor that they trained with, and then like
Yeah,
so, some successful streamers that I know like had people who sort of like brought them up. um and so a lot of what I learn is just sort of like my own research and my own findings. And uh and because of that, a lot of the like business knowledge that I've learned is not specific to Twitch. It's just like general business knowledge. And
yeah,
that's why I have a newsletter, which is so weird to streamers.
it is. It is. I
Um,
think you're the only person I follow who does that. But
yeah.
when it's content that pertains to me, I would read it every
And
time.
yeah, and that's the thing is like my like when when I want to promote something, the thing that I'm most excited to promote it on is my newsletter because the conversion rate is insane. Like it's so much
Yeah,
better than like anything else that I do. Um, and so I've now lost track of where this started from. But I remember we were talking about. I hate this. We were
I think we
talking.
went from like the business side to me talking about discoverability on other
Yeah,
platforms.
you were talking about discoverability on. Oh, right. So like you were talking about discoverability on other platforms, and you were talking about. Oh,
How
target
good.
market. We were
Oh
talking
yeah,
about
target
target
market.
market.
That's the step I missed. Yeah,
So that transit. Okay, so sorry about my tangents.
it's fine. It's good.
So so yeah, so target market is something that I got out of that same sort of just like general business research of like you should have a target market, you should have an audience that you appeal
Yeah,
to. And for you specifically, what immediately comes across to me is that you are just a heckin' meme lord. You just love memeing. Meme
that is
you're
true. That
you're
is
like
true.
if memes were a wine, you would be a connoisseur. Like you just sip it
Yeah,
up.
yeah. I mean, one of the earliest social media sites I was on was Reddit. I've been
Hmm.
on Reddit for 7 years at this point, and I've probably only had internet in my house for maybe 10 years.
Wow.
So, it's like um, I grew up with that culture, and memes were pretty early on. That was a very constant thing. Like, I've been a part of a couple communities, but my first community was one of my first big communities that I was in was on an app called iFunny,
Okay.
which is a ripoff of Reddit almost, I'd say, except it takes out the community part and just gives you like pictures. It's just an endless collection of pictures
Yeah.
and memes and stuff. So there's a Team Fortress 2 community on there, and I made a couple friends through there, and eventually, that all fizzled out. But that was like my first foray into Twitch streamers and stuff, because you know people started promoting their Twitch on there, and you start
Wow.
to talk to more frequently the people you meet in the community, and it's honestly an interesting thing how meme centric communities grow versus other topic communities grow,
Yeah.
because I feel like with the Mickey Mouse thing, that's just one big meme,
Right.
but I don't think I'm gonna ever get any meaningful gains from that, because if I've seen the bigger Disneyland account, I kind of ride the coattails of.
Hmm.
I've seen when he tweets out his personal stuff and it's like, hey, if you like me, follow me. It never does well. I'm like, yeah, people are here for the Disneyland meme. They're not here for the actual person.
Okay, so there's a couple things that I want to touch on here, but first, give me like give me like the elevator pitch, just for I know because I follow it and love it, but give everyone like an elevator pitch of what your Disneyland account is.
An elevator pitch. I'm just pretending I'm RPing as a real life Mickey Mouse and what he actually thinks before the lawyers get to him, That's what it is. And I tweet out everything. Like I tweeted out stuff about Donald Duck going to Alcoholics Anonymous.
I love your elevator pitch because in like even though I follow your account and regularly read your tweets, I still didn't know the information that you just told me. It's like
Yeah,
it's like the
yeah.
backstory of you. It's the character who is tweeting those tweets. That's
Yeah,
fascinating.
I like the idea that it's actually Mickey Mouse tweeting it. And I think that's the whole novelty of the account, and also why I don't think it would transfer over to me at all, because it has novelty that wears off as soon as it transfers. So maybe meme accounts aren't the best thing to do for growing, but if you can add some of your own flair to it, I think you have good potentials to grow in other platforms.
I think that so this is the other part that I want to touch on, which is that like I am by no means a social media expert at all. Like my social media is probably not as successful as it could be if I like did social media better. But what I have learned, and I actually learned this more from my newsletter than anything, is that once you sort of like establish an average, whatever that average is, so like speaking in like newsletter terms, like 10% open rate, 2% click rate. Okay.
Hmm.
Uh, it's really not sort of like worth your time to try to raise your open rate or raise your click rate, because pretty much no matter what you do, it's gonna end up around that average.
Yeah.
What is worth is trying to like boost your overall number, because obviously that 10% and 2% are going to scale the more people that you have
Yeah.
opening your newsletter. So similarly, this is a lot of me just thinking out loud, but similarly like with Twitter or something, like I noticed that my posts that actually matter, like posts about like an article that I wrote, or like a YouTube video that I did, or like a
Yeah.
going live post, those don't do as well as some of my like funny, like just random thought tweets. Though
Yeah.
every once in a while I'll hit on one of those and it like does great. I'm like, oh, I need to figure out how to replicate this. um
Yeah.
but I still get some conversion from it, and I think that conversion, that little bit of conversion, still matters. And so
Yeah.
I just sort of, and I mean, it's so interesting talking to you about this, because like I feel that there's always a little part of you that's like, I don't actually care though. Like,
Well, actually, I was just thinking, you know, the funny posts that get a lot of traction
yeah,
raise the numbers of the percentage of the more important posts, as you said it. So like as you said, the percentages stay the same, but you want the numbers to go up.
right,
If you find the balance there, the numbers will go up because you can attract people with kind of both posts, and then they can kind of decide, are they the person who wants to check out all the interesting stuff, the more
right,
meaty stuff, or are they just here for the memes?
right,
And it's an interesting balance to pick. And if there are people who can really do the memes with their own personality and like Twitch clips and stuff,
yeah,
and uh, that can that has the potential to actually raise the percentages, I would think,
yeah,
instead of just raising the numbers. You have, if you can boost a really good Twitch clip or something, that is gonna most likely bring in a lot of people who are very interested in the content they see in the clip.
hmm,
So if if you can post personality clips and stuff like that, it's there's genuinely a lot of potential on Twitter that now that people are seeing Twitch as the platform it has been all of these years, where it's
right,
just a list, an Excel sheet of streams, basically.
right,
uh, uh, you'll see people start using it, and I'm surprised it's taken this long because a lot of these things haven't really changed in the past 5 years or so. It's just become more saturated.
yeah, yeah. Just more and more people slowly trickling in and making it harder and harder for every individual.
Yeah, there's more rough to find the diamonds in, so to speak.
Yeah, I, I feel a little bit like I'm harping on this, but I'm just so fascinated by this concept of you, y and like if it's just something that you're not at all interested in, let me know. But I'm just fascinated by it. I'm just really fascinated by the idea of, because I have you ever tried it, of like using your Mickey Mouse account and seeing what kind of conversion you can get?
I have a number I will try it at, and I think it's if I hit a 5-digit follower count.
Oh my god, dude.
I'm in the 800s right now, and I've had it for like 4 months.
I mean, that's really,
So,
and like, do you have stats on like
oh
how
yeah,
steadily you're growing?
yeah. Oh, it was kind of an experiment, actually, originally, to see how good you can do with the meme accounts.
Yeah.
And if I go look at my actual analytics here, I think what was my best month? I've kind of let it fall off in the past like 2 or 3 months. So if I go tweets and I go, let's say, I think July was good. I think July was a good month. Yeah, so in July, I had 236,000 impressions, which is
Okay.
people seeing your tweet.
Right.
And that is that's just from that's almost exclusively from replies, because that's how it's done. You piggyback off of the big channels, which
Right.
it's pretty similar to Twitch, actually. Um, if you can find a channel that uh, is okay with you kind of selling out in it
Yeah.
from time to time, uh, you can really pop off, so to speak.
Yeah. What is your like follower rate per, like do you know like like how many followers on average you're getting like a month on that Twitter meme account?
Per month, let's see. Last month I got 30.
Okay.
Before that, 28. Before that, well, so the last 2 months I don't really count because I haven't really been tweeting. I
Yeah,
have
you petered
about,
off a little bit.
but the before that I would get So July, the 237,000 month, I got 230 followers from that.
Oh my god, dude.
From June, I had 104,000 impressions. I got 70 followers from that.
Dude.
From May, I had 268 impressions, 268,000 impressions. I got 240 followers from that. So
Dude.
it picked up. There was a tweet about weed that got like 200 likes, and it had 70,000 impressions. So it's really crazy how much it quickly scaled. It very quickly became far and beyond the most popular thing I've ever done online.
It's incredible. Yeah, it's so because like for me, like you're citing these numbers. I think that your July numbers is pretty close to like my total number of followers. Like,
Oh yeah, it's compared to my actual Twitter account. I'm like a speck of dust to my own Mickey Mouse.
it's just it's incredible that and like there has to be something to that. There has to be something to this idea that you've stumbled upon of like, and it's talked about a lot, like that, like sort of I can't remember the exact percentages that they talk about, but a lot of things that I've read talk about like 90% of your posts to like social media should be not memes, but like personality,
Yeah.
like giving people an idea of like who you are, and then like 10% should be promotion. And my problem is because
You enjoy the promotion.
I enjoy the business side, I enjoy the promotion,
Yeah.
I enjoy like the creativity of coming up with new things.
Yeah.
I'm like the reverse of that ratio. I'm like 90% promotion and then like 10% personality.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is, that also kind of includes the going live tweets,
Mm-hmm.
which whenever I post them, I try to do it very sparingly. Like if I have like a stream that I have like, it's not just let's play Apex. You know, that's I'm not gonna tweet out a let's play Apex stream. If I do a stream like a cooking stream, I'm gonna tweet that out when
Right.
it's and that because Twitter is a source of content, and if you do just links to other pages, you're diluting the content, so to speak.
Right.
Unless you have your audience conditioned to know that that's what they're getting.
Well, but even then, like coming back to the idea of like just having good content isn't enough. Like I know that Twitter algorithms specifically bomb your tweets if they link to other sites. Your tweets
Yeah.
do better if you
YouTube,
keep it on the platform.
YouTube videos. I know at one point we're doing that too. They probably still are.
Yeah.
So whenever I do videos with like I that I want to do super well, I'll like link other videos of mine in it. So it's like YouTube. I'm sending people to YouTube. Just keep promoting me.
Right, for sure.
Um,
Yeah, just like run in that YouTube circle of me.
yeah. Well, one thing that's actually interesting on the YouTube, beside YouTube thumbnails, the tagging system in YouTube, I
Mhm.
think doesn't work whatsoever. I don't think it does
Really?
anything. And from my understanding, like Devin Nash has confirmed that or
Really?
tested it in some. But what I do think actually works is doing hashtags in your description
Yes.
because they are searchable.
Yes.
And that was another thing technical dad zombie has gifted unto me in knowledge terms of he's like, you know, just do a hashtag this at the bottom of your description and see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did the same thing to me cuz like I I go to Zombie for so much that
Yeah.
I try to avoid going to him for things cuz it's just too much.
I think
So,
I think if you ask him and he goes and figures it out, he wants to tell more people than just you, so I get spillover of it.
that's too funny.
Because
That's
like he just comes to me and tells me these things. I'm like,
And you're like, this has to be from somewhere.
okay, I'll try it. And if it's you asking, that totally makes sense for the spillover to
Yeah,
be.
so what happened was I released my YouTube channel, right? And I didn't want to ask him about it. I was too shy. I didn't want to bother him about it. And
I
then
get that feeling a lot.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
one day he like brought it up. So I was like, "Okay, well, what do you think?" And he was like, "You're not even like tagging your videos, dude." And I was like, "Yes, I am." And he was like, "No, like you're not including hashtags in your description." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he sends me a screenshot of like a video that uses hashtag in the description and has the like hashtags above the title. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Wait, how do you do that?" And he was like, "Put hashtags in your description, dude." And so I went and did it, and then like all of a sudden I was seeing all of these metrics on YouTube of like people were searching this term and finding your video, and I was like, what the
Yeah.
heck? Why don't they tell you this stuff?
Yeah. It's like you think YouTube has all the built-in stuff that you need, and there's actually workarounds so that it actually works the way it's supposed to.
Right, right, yeah, and I really do think that it is like the metaphor that's coming or the comparison that's coming to mind is like the way that unemployment purposefully makes it really difficult for you to get money so that not just like everyone gets it.
Yeah.
I think that these content creation platforms are doing the same thing where they're like not everyone can make it. It just
Oh yeah.
it's not feasible. So we're gonna purposefully engineer things to make it
Yeah.
harder for you so that only the people who are willing to invest the time and actually figure it out are going to see growth.
Yeah. Either you figure it out or you get lucky.
Right.
Is really the thing.
Yeah.
Or have an absolutely stellar personality. You're absolutely amazing in every way.
Right.
But for everybody else,
Yeah.
you either get lucky or you figure it out the hard way.
Yeah, and that's one thing that you brought up Devin Nash. That's one thing that Devin Nash was talking about that I found really really fascinating
Mm-hmm.
was he was talking about some guy in his chat was like, like why can't everyone just have one apple? Why does one guy got to have like 10 apples? And he was like, dude, you're such a because the rest of those 9 people are not working nearly as hard as the one guy who took all the apples. Like that guy's working
Yeah.
way way harder. And he went to his follower list and it was all these like huge streamers. And he was like and he started going through like the reason why each of them was successful. And he was like, "Do you see what I'm talking about? Like there are no mistakes here. Like
Mm-hmm.
the people who are like cheating the system or like getting lucky, like those people get weeded out very quickly because they just
Yeah.
can't cut it. Whereas the people who actually like stay big and stay popular like are the ones who like actually put in the work. The
Yeah.
it's it's not a perfect system, but it works pretty well. And as
Mm-hmm.
someone who sort of hates capitalism, it really sort of like made me think for a second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy when you think that nobody at the top is at the top by mistake or really by chance at this point.
Right.
Because if someone stays there, I'd say for more than half a year, uh, they're doing stuff right,
Right.
and it's like it's good to try to pay attention to what they're doing and trying to kind of pull that and make it your own in some ways.
Yeah.
Which that's a pretty common recommendation, but a lot of people, I think, don't realize how easy it is to kind of take that and actually try to apply it to yourself.
Yeah.
Because, like, for me, I recently, unfortunately, recently, have come to the realization that, like I said earlier, I am a KEKW stream. I'm not a PogChamp stream. So most of the games I was playing, like mainly Apex, I'd be playing a bunch of Apex, and be like, wow, my viewer counts are at rock bottom when I'm playing Apex. I wonder why that is. Well, maybe it's because it's a game where you're focusing the whole time you're playing.
Hmm.
And I think part of part of some of the stuff you were saying with Sharky was like making me think about why am I playing games that aren't focusing on me when I could be I could be building a community to focus on me rather than focusing on a game?
Mhm.
Because if people aren't coming to your channel to focus on the game
Right.
as a Twitch streamer, which
Unless, like, the only exception is, like, if you're a professional gamer and you are just, like, unbelievable at the
yeah,
game and they're going to
yeah,
learn something.
I would say even there are even exceptions to that where it's like even if they're incredible at the game, they still have like a lot of people will say Shroud has no
Personality.
personality. I disagree.
Hmm.
I used to leave his streams on late at night, and I when you sit around and actually watch for a while, he's not just the Twitch clips of him doing a 180 and headshotting some guy 500 years away from him.
Right.
uh, and that part builds a community. No matter the technical skill of you need to have some sort of personality to stay relevant.
Right.
And it's very easy to just focus on a game.
Hmm.
It's harder to kind of bring up for some people.
Hmm.
Obviously, for some people, it isn't. But I'm a more introverted person, so for me, it's more difficult to create an environment that's focusing on me.
Yeah.
But like I went to a stream at one point and someone complained the game volume was too loud.
Hmm.
And instead of lowering the volume of the game, the streamer said, I like to enjoy the game. I think the game is at the same it has the same creative merits that I do, so I think it should be equal in volume with me. And I was like, okay. That person who asked that has probably left,
100%.
as well as probably other people who were not going to bring it up because they're too polite. But it's it, I that's it was just so bizarre to hear someone say this game that you're coming to my channel for to watch me play is just as important, even though you could be playing it, you could be watching someone else play it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
That is
it was
that
just
is a wild thing, a wild
yeah.
response.
I was like, that's the most bizarre thing I've ever heard from a content creator.
Yeah. Like, why are you
I was
creating content
I
if
was
the
like,
game is just as important as you are? Then,
yeah,
like, you don't really matter.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's like you're streaming to add something,
Right.
and if it's even, you know,
Yeah.
then I don't often look up videos of no talking stock footage gameplay of this
Right.
game
Right.
unless I'm trying to get background shots for something I'm going to talk over.
Right. Totally. So
It's
I
like,
want I want to like jump back just for a second. First of
mhm,
all, I want to say, like, I'm super flattered that um that something in an interview that I did, like, made you think, because, like, a lot of the time, like, your like criticism and like insight is particularly insightful
yeah,
to me. So that's really exciting. And I also sort of want to like delve in with you.
hmm,
I'm still struggling with this idea of, like, but he doesn't really want it. Anyway.
no,
So
no, it's good. Go with it.
I wanna delve into this idea with you of, like, the Keck W streamer and
Okay.
the target market that you create from being that kind of streamer, like who you're trying to attract, and what you're creating in order to attract them.
Yeah,
I think that as a Keck W streamer is a fascinating concept.
yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't really think about the target market probably as much as I should. like this is probably a within the past month realization of I it's something I should have picked up on sooner, because when I edit my videos, I always leave in the funny parts and then cut out the really long shoot part.
Right.
But the target market is interesting because a lot of people go online to enjoy themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and it is a smaller group, I think, that go online to see high class gameplay and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I have the jack of all trades kind of curse with skill in video games. I don't think I'm particularly above the curve of skill on any particular game, no matter the time I sink into it.
Sure.
But I think, as Sharky said, some people just seek out knowledge over than actual mechanics, and I was
Right.
like, I could be that guy. But I think I think the stuff I personally enjoy making more is the funnier stuff.
Yeah.
Because if I can make myself laugh editing a video, which rarely happens, I think it's happened twice. Uh,
Were those
if
like
I
two of your most successful videos?
uh not particularly. Uh,
Interesting.
I'm not counting the just meme ones that I'm like, this would be a stupid idea.
Like the one where you do what was it, like a tracer painting or something?
Oh, a Junkrat painting for
Junkrat
over.
painting.
I thought I actually hated that video because I never did on camera stuff, I think, before that.
Okay.
So that was like my least favorite video. I don't think I've ever watched that after editing it.
Oh
It's
my
one
god,
and
dude,
done.
it's so funny.
Yeah. But that's just a difference in content to me. One of my favorite videos was actually one I posted uh 3 months ago,
Okay.
and it's just me and my friend playing this smaller game, Lethal League, and I edited in. I rarely make edits that aren't just cuts,
Mm-hmm.
and for some reason I decided to edit in Gilbert Gottfried saying poggers, and after I had clearly beaten the person I was playing with.
Okay.
And to this day, every time I watch that video, it makes me laugh.
That's
And it's
awesome.
just like it's not much, but it's a step above in creativity
Mm-hmm.
that I think a lot of people need to realize. Like, for me, a lot of my videos are just cuts.
Mm-hmm.
They're just, here's this sort of funny thing, next funny thing, next funny thing.
Right.
Um, a lot of YouTubers I watch do music in the background. They do sound effects all the time, and that can get annoying for some people, but there's reasoning behind it.
Yeah.
Like s- stock music is an amazing thing,
Yeah.
and I will almost guarantee it. You find even the right mood of music, it will improve the viewing experience of any video you make.
I mean, that's why you are challenging Tavasi, because what you're, don't think I don't know what you're doing. You're not. I don't think you're even doing it on purpose. But what's happening is I keep trying to bring the conversation back to you, and you keep like generalizing it. And I'm like, God
I
darn it,
I,
Tavasi.
I love generalizing stuff because it's just so easy to tell other people what to do rather than say, "Hey, here's what I've done."
Well, I'm just so fascinated at this idea because, like, okay, personal example. I love the aesthetic of keeping a journal, right? Like the
Hmm.
people who like every day like write in their journal and like write their thoughts down, and it's like super private. They just keep it to themselves. Like that's
Okay.
amazing to me.
Yeah.
And I always want to do it. But then when I do it, I always then want to take it and go show somebody and be like, look
So
at my
yeah,
journal.
look at what I'm writing.
Look at what I'm writing. And
Yeah,
so like that's sort of just like my natural inclination. But and
to
and,
share.
and
Yeah,
well, yeah, and I think that the fact that you're in this world, just the fact that you decided to get on Twitch and try
yeah.
making YouTube videos, that like there's something in there for you too. And like the fact that
Hmm.
like your Disney Mouse account excites you so much, you know?
Yeah.
Like everybody enjoys that feeling of growth and of success. And so like that's really the part that I'm trying to like nail into is like I want to find because I think that my like analyzation of what's happening
Yeah.
is that uh the thing that you're doing, the thing that you're creating is not uh like you don't love it enough to justify the work that it takes for you to get that growth that you enjoy.
That's actually very true. I've had multiple video ideas
Mm-hmm.
where I will get like I won't even get to rough cuts. I'll get to like filming footage.
Yeah.
I'll be like, nope, we're axing this idea completely. Uh, I was gonna make a video reviewing my car, my sister's car, and my brother's car because all our first cars.
Mm-hmm.
And that I had music picked out. I had basically the whole video shot for shot in my mind,
Mm-hmm.
and I started filming stuff, and I was like, this isn't the quality it is in my brain. The video is done. We're moving on. This is
Interesting.
it. And I get that a lot. I get to be a little perfectionist when it comes to creative videos. That's why I don't like the painting video, because I had to put in classical music because I put on a noise gate on my mic, so it would go complete silence. You'd hear me talk and you'd hear background noise, and it'd go back to complete silence. I was like, this is horrific. I hate this so much. I'm gonna put background music so it's passable. I'm gonna release it because I spent money on this video,
well
and it
then
is done.
well then maybe I'm analyzing it incorrectly because my original thought was that you hadn't found the content that really sort of like drew you in enough in terms of creativity that you wanted to like stick with it and allow it to. But it sounds like it's not that. It sounds like you know what you want to create. It's just that you're such a perfectionist that
It could be.
interesting.
It could. I would not be surprised if it was truly a mixture of both.
Okay.
Um, because I do put out videos that I think are could be improved,
Mm-hmm.
but I a lot of those I am in the understanding of I have either gained some sort of knowledge or I am going to learn something by putting this video out
Yeah.
and completing the editing process. Um, Editing is the interesting part for me. Is
You
I'd
really
say
like
where it gets
editing?
hairy. I actually I wouldn't say I like it.
Okay.
I'd say I can either get out the baseline video that I have in my mind, or I can let myself decide that I'm going to make it better through editing, and it's going to take a lot longer because editing, uh, the curve of improvement to time spent is very, very flat.
Mm-hmm.
Like it there are some systems you have to have set up to the point where like music banks, like for background music. The first time I went and did background music in a video, it took me like 3 extra hours just to find music that I like. And I only ended up finding 3 songs
Mm.
in the YouTube free music library. And I was like, I don't even know if these make the video better,
Hmm.
but it's taken me 3 extra hours. the first time I did thumbnails, it took me 2 extra hours. I was like, or not thumbnails, text,
Oh,
like
okay. Like captions
whatever,
throughout the video.
captions. Yeah, captions. Um, I it took me like 2 hours to do them, and at the end, I was like, okay, these are all right. I put it on YouTube. YouTube compressed it. I was like, these are almost unreadable.
Oh
So
God.
it was the thing I do with thumbnails, where it's like, this is about half the size it should have actually been,
Right.
and I was moving them around because I thought that was more creative. It wasn't. It was just making it harder to read. So I learned things, but it ended up with me learning things and being like, okay, never again.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's just setting up systems to make it easier.
Yeah. And I think that what you're talking about is something that like so I personally have experienced it with my brother. My brother is the type of person like my brother is really into podcasting. He really really wants to start a podcast. The
Okay.
problem is that and he started like 6 or something. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
The
Okay.
problem is that he as much as I talk to him about it, like I like in I'm not a super successful content creator at all, but
Yeah.
I've had more success than he has. And
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
much as I tell him like, dude, you just got to get it out there. He's like, no, like I got to get the mic, I got to get the mixer
Oh
board, I
no.
got to
Oh
get the
no.
and I'm like, dude, this is way too much investment way too early on.
Joe Rogan has a $400 microphone. I should have a $400
Exactly,
microphone.
exactly. And so I think that and like I heard it recently in like a like growth on YouTube video that I was watching, which is that
Hmm.
like this guy was talking about like one of the biggest things that people struggle with when they're first starting out is they judge their content too early. And so like he talks
Yeah.
about like you got to get like your first like 35 videos out, which is why I celebrated my 35th video. It's like you got to get your first 35 videos out and then start fine tuning your content, start like whittling it down.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you struggle with that to some extent too, uh, where you're like, oh, like I want to make this better, but then you get so burnt out on the time that it takes to make it better that
Yeah.
it just kills your creativity.
Well, I mean, it going by the 35 video thing, my first 35 videos would be 100% different content from the videos I make now. I mean, I started making videos on a MacBook Air,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd put a microphone in the middle of a table and have my friends surround the table, and we'd make a video together,
Okay.
playing like a game together.
Okay.
So, generally speaking, the idea isn't that much different, but there has been a lot of technical advancement since 2015,
Totally.
2014 actually. Um, and it's really interesting because when you start doing technical advancements, it, for me at least, it starts making me want to do creative advancements
Okay.
at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like my first video is just an 8-minute clip of me playing Team Fortress 2,
Mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't even consider uploading that this in this current day and age. Like that
Right.
would be absolutely insane to me.
Right.
Um so I think the 35 video thing is very good actually, cuz as you create more things, you're going to start figuring out what the things you want to do in your videos are, and like I'm trying to figure out a way I can record my face cam separately from my gameplay, so I can do more editing that way without killing my computer. Of course, it doesn't seem to like it when I record in almost in 1080 by 1080 in the same.
Right.
But um it's, I mean, advancing creativity and advancing technology is something that can go hand in hand,
Yeah.
but I don't think you have to advance technology as much as some people think.
Right.
Like this microphone that I have is like a $100 microphone, is not going to be any specifically worse than a $400 Shure SM7B. However, if there are things you want to do that require a mixer, then you have to do the technological upgrades. But I like to lead that with I need this for a creative thing. I need it to do a thing I want to do. Like, I have voice mod through this where I can change my voice, I can do soundboard sound effects, I can cut my mic, I can do so much stuff.
Yeah.
But I am going to be switching it for a XLR mic because I I have absolutely hit the limits that that the software can do. I need the physical mixer to actually be able to do some of the things I want to do just for jokes on my stream.
Yeah.
And it's a very easy thing to be like, "Ooh, this is very nice. Give me this." But I I I really try to say, "Hey, creative advancements first, rather than get all the technology you can and
Sure.
then figure everything out."
Sure.
Like, I mean, video editing is going to take you such a long time to figure out if you're just editing your own videos.
Right.
Like, I've been editing videos for probably over 5-6 years, and I don't do anything specifically crazy with them, and I'm still changing how I do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've recently been doing things where I don't just edit a video to completion. I edit parts of videos, and if I think they can be stuck together, then that can make its own video.
Mm-hmm.
But rarely does that end up being the case. So I started a second channel where I can just throw on little bits and then use them later if I need to.
Right.
So,
Okay.
I mean,
So,
I gave you a lot to unpack there. I feel like.
totally, yeah. So, but I mean, I'm gonna keep circling around.
Okay.
I'm like a shark. So, what I'm circling back to is you're talking about how for you, and this is interesting because I think I'm the opposite. I think that my creative advancements drive my desire for technological advancements. Like when I watch a good example for me is like when I watch Shia
Mm-hmm.
desperately Shia makes me desperately want to improve the technological side of my stream because the creative things that he's able to do with his stream through technology
Yeah.
just make me like drool over the technological things.
Yeah,
That
I do get that way sometimes, but a lot of it's coming from stuff I like, specifically with the microphone stuff. I hit a hard limit. I was like, I physically cannot do the stuff I want to do
yeah
to make it. I don't even remember what it is because this was 5 months ago at this
Yeah.
point when I tried to sort all this out, and I still haven't even gotten the mixer yet. But I mean, sometimes you just get like the creative itch,
yeah and
and you just
the part
it needs something.
the part that is really interesting to me is that in what you expressed, it sounds like it's the opposite for you, which is it's cool. It's interesting to me that a lot of times the technology drives the creativity for you, And so what I'm curious about, just coming from my perspective, because I do work the opposite way, is like in those technological advancements that are driving your creativity. I want to know what you're building to, and what I mean. I guess this is very similar to the question I asked Sharky, which is like, what does your ideal stream look like? Like you've gotten this further insight of like, I'm a KEKW streamer. What does that
Okay.
look like larger scale?
So the best example I can give of this is one of my all-time favorite content creators is Germa985.
Okay, I think that's
He
one of Carlos's too, right?
Yeah, Carlos. I showed him to Carlos, and Carlos has become a fan.
Okay.
He he ha- he's been doing YouTube stuff basically from the dawn of time.
Okay.
Uh, he normally does just game streams. However, there are streams he's done that have been so absolutely insanely creative that it kind of makes me sit back and be like, how can anything compare to this?
Hmm.
He once did a carnival on stream where robots played the games and the robots were controlled by chat. And I was like, this is the most creative thing. It's a probably $10,000 stream
Wow.
to create it. But I mean, he had a dunk tank. He had like ring tosses. He had a robot specifically built. He had like 5 or 6 robots specifically built for different things that chat could do. I was like, that is such a creatively driven stream with so much technological advancement in it, and I have never seen anybody else do anything like this. I don't even know how you got this idea.
Right.
It's like, and I think he's also done. He kind of started a little bit of a trend where he rented out a green screen like studio in Las Vegas where he lives now,
Mm-hmm.
and for like 2 to 4 hours, he just went and did things for chat
Okay.
so they could green screen it out and make it into videos that he would then later watch on his stream and
And react
react to.
to. That's awesome.
And I was like, how are these? How, that one specifically, I was like, how is this something that people haven't done before?
Right.
How is this in like that
This
was
is
like
so brilliant. It
2019.
seems like it should already exist, but
Yeah,
you came up with it yourself. That's incredible.
yeah. So
Yeah.
something of that caliber would be my perfect stream.
Okay.
He,
Okay.
he does award shows at the end of the year that go back into all of the stuff he did.
Okay,
And
so oh god, there's so much here. Okay, so
yeah,
the first part I want to touch on is this idea that you've brought up, and the comparison that it's making me think of is rich people. So
okay.
what I mean by that is when you're rich, your money just breeds. It's just easy. Like it
Yeah.
just money makes more money. You just infinitely have. It's easy to make more money. You can throw it
Yeah.
into places, and it just has
I
babies.
can spend. I don't even have to look at the check I'm writing.
Right.
It's just,
Right. So it's
you know,
easy. Once you get there, it's easy to like to I can take $10,000 and I can throw it at some bots that run a carnival for me, and
Yeah.
it's incredible. And then there's us down here.
yeah,
That
yeah,
so the first part is how do we start, because he had to start from somewhere.
yeah,
He didn't always have that capability. He just like you were saying, like over time his like
yeah,
continued growth allowed him to continue advancing his technology until like it came to this like amazing pinnacle.
yeah.
So where do we start?
Yeah, I mean, I think
Or where
I
did you
mean
start? You Keck W
for me it
streamer?
was like, yeah, for me he started kind of making extremely similar content to the stuff I make now.
Okay.
He made TF2 videos, which is of course, part the reason I found him was I played Team Fortress.
Okay.
And it was just a great sense of humor that kind of it kind of a lot of the content I watch is stuff that I get somewhat inspired from, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah.
Like I have multiple people I watch who are like I'm like these are my I laugh at all of these videos, they're the funniest people to me. And the goal is to eventually be that for somebody else, so to speak,
Yeah.
as a Keck W streamer, you
Streaming
know.
is so, gosh, streamers are always so heckin' noble. I love it. They just want to like inspire and like change the world and
Yeah.
educate. Like it's just beautiful. Okay, so, uh, oh god, there's so many things. So, okay, so he had like a natural and just like a natural, really amazing sense of humor that sort of helped him to grow.
Yeah. But it wasn't a fast thing.
Right.
Like he like I said, it's been probably 8 years of him doing that. He's been streaming for 4 years or so after a YouTube channel that got to like 1 million subscribers in the YouTube dark age, which was not a common thing to do.
Right.
Um,
And did you
so
see a transition in his content? Like was there a period where he went from like Team Fortress 2 videos and was slowly building to when he like blew up?
uh he got pretty it was for a long time
Mhm.
Team Fortress 2 videos, and
Yeah.
he got very popular from Team Fortress 2 videos.
Okay.
But his videos were so a lot of them weren't even like game focused. Like
Right.
it was like it was him, a friend, and they were just having a great time, and it was recorded.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of the content I make is me, friends, just having fun.
Yeah.
And that's a market, that's a thing for people that people want to see.
Yeah.
And sometimes you gotta kind of self-realize the content you're making as you're making it. Like as I'm playing Apex, I'm realizing I'm sitting here staring at a screen. My forehead's the only thing people are seeing because I'm so focused on this screen as I'm trying to shoot people 300
Right.
feet away. And it's like, is this actually the entertainment I'm trying to provide?
Right.
And for me, the answer was no. Which, at at the when that's the thing you're most commonly doing with the people you're most commonly making things with, that's kind of a now what moment.
Okay.
But it can, like, for me, it's not, I feel like, that hard of a transition to make, because there are still plenty of things I can make that are uh KEKW focused
Yeah.
rather than
So this
just
is actually a really cool question that I don't think I've ever heard asked before. Normally, the question that I hear asked is what is the intersection between a game that I actually enjoy playing and a game that somebody actually wants to watch? But the
hmm
question that I'm getting from what you're talking about is what game serves you as a content creator the best? Like for me,
yeah.
thus far, Jackbox is like my flagship game because
hmm
it just for whatever reason it just synergizes with my content really well.
yeah.
So for you, what game have you found thus far that seems to serve your sort of KEKW content the best?
Well, that's something I've actually been like looking back at the games I've played.
Mhm.
Because Apex was a very fast-paced shooter with like not really any downtime because it's a battle royale.
Right.
And one of the things that made PUBG blow up was that it was a battle royale with huge player counts, but it also had a lot of downtime so streamers could talk to their chats.
Right.
And I think when you get to a game like Apex and probably even like the more recent Call of Duties, you get these games that are requiring your focus pretty constantly, and they aren't really good stream games
Hmm.
unless you're good at the game.
Right.
But if you're an average Joe who's gonna, you know, barely go positive and just kind of you're just kind of there to have fun, finding a game that gives you breaks to socialize on a stream is very important. So, like Star Wars Squadrons, I was previously thinking, "Oh, I'm going to play a ton of Star Wars Squadrons."
Hmm.
But if I play a ton of Star Wars Squadrons and I play it in VR, I'm never going to be looking at chat and people. It's just going to be a 1 to 2 viewer Andy sitting here in a VR headset having the
Yeah.
time of his life
And
blasting spaceships.
and I mean, this is like a big like overarching concept of streaming that like and like all the like big streamer people that give advice like talk about this, that like your audience needs to be your priority. Like,
Yeah.
um but again, I'm gonna circle back and like poke you again. For you specifically, Tavasi, what game have you discovered that you feel like serves your Keck W content really well?
Um, I think Overwatch did it for a little while.
Okay.
I played a ton of Overwatch because that has times where you're not fighting it. It has fights and then you kind of back off, and
Really
then you fight
interesting.
and then you back off.
See, because like in
So
my, go ahead.
yeah, in competitive, like high tier stuff, not so much. It's pretty constant.
Yeah.
But in like mid ranks where I am, you have a team fight and you either respawn or you win the fight.
Yeah.
So you have some time to look at chat, see what's going on. But I think that's why I've started transitioning away from battle royales, is because you don't have the respawn time,
Right.
you don't have the set time period where you're playing, and you don't have the set time period where you're looking at chat.
Okay.
If
So
if you can't manage that,
this is so interesting. This is so
um,
fascinating. I
so like
Go ahead.
TF2 is another game where like respawn times are amazing times to look at chat and see what's going on. I'd never streamed TF2 because of the horrific stuff you can see in text chat and have no physical way of filtering out.
I see.
Uh, yeah, no, there was a bug in that game where you could have a melee weapon with an image displayed on it, and I was like, this is a very cool weapon. I have one. And then there was a bug where it would select someone else's image. So if you would inspect that weapon, it would turn around and it would be an anime girl on the screen, and it could straight up be porn. And you're like, oh my god, I cannot stream this game
Totally.
specifically because someone else can be walking around with anime porn on their in character,
Yeah.
and I have nothing I can do about that.
So from what you're expressing, what's interesting about what you're expressing is that like it sounds like you're talking about like when can I get like what games can I play that I can get like a break from the game in order to talk to chat.
Yeah, yeah, I think there has to be a balance there, and I
Totally.
mean,
But what's interesting to me is that like the first games that come to mind for me for your content are like Among Us. Like Among Us is a super Keck W meme.
it is. Among Us does have that. I don't think about it that much because it's just not something I play a
Enjoy.
whole lot. I'll play it when we get in a big group, but I don't think I have a full group of people I actually directly know.
Hmm.
Like I have zombies big group where it's people who I've met playing Among Us and I've
Right.
only played Among Us with and I've never spoken to outside of Among Us.
Right.
But um I like to kind of have that control over sometimes 10 people in a Discord call, that's just a little bit too much.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I said, I started watching YouTube for content that was, like just a couple friends hanging out playing games.
Right.
So that tends to be the content I make
Yeah.
or just produce because
And
that
and
tends to be the most common stuff I do.
the kind of games that you enjoy the most
Yeah.
are like first person shooters, battle royales, things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
interesting.
I mean, yeah, that's yeah. The oldest games I ever played were I remember playing first person shooters on the Nintendo Wii, which you may think, why would Nintendo put first person shooters on their console? But yeah, there was James Bond games on Nintendo Wii where you could sit
Yeah,
around.
they remade GoldenEye for Nintendo Wii, didn't they?
Yep. Oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I played that for probably days, just replaying single player.
GoldenEye is gold.
And yeah. Well, and the first game I ever played was the Star Wars Battlefront games. Those
Mm-hmm.
were the really, aside from like Putt Putt Saves the Zoo or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
like actual games, Battlefront 2. Um, and so I've always been a little FPS gamer
Right.
throughout my basically entire life. I
Yeah.
mean, my first Xbox I got in kindergarten. So that's when that's when we got my first one. So
We're
for me it
going
was
we're
like,
going deep here.
yeah. I mean, so that's always yeah, and I didn't have internet, so it'd be like you sit next to the people you're playing with and you're just hanging out and having a great time. So throughout my whole gaming experience, it's been hang out with a small group of people and just vibe, so to speak.
Right.
And you know, some games that works really well for, and then some games it's really hard to cut into videos with. Like Apex, it's interesting because you, you also I find that I want to tell the story of the game as well as the conversation that I'm having.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have to put in a clip that is just like a 20-second clip from a game, but I don't want to put in any of the rest of the game, I will more than often not just not include the clip because it's out of context, and I like to be able to put in like a full game. So I like being able to show the beginning to end kind of result.
Yeah.
Like like most of the time I don't think there's many games where I would sacrifice the beginning to end flow
Yeah.
of the game. But there are games where it just makes no sense when you start to make jump cuts. It makes no sense to try to tell a story or try to tell the story of the game, so to speak.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's it's an interesting balance to keep when you're making videos.
Totally.
But that's also kind of going along with the "am I more important than the game"
Well, that's
thing.
exactly what I was thinking about. I was like, you're giving
I
me.
could kind of tell. I could kind of tell. I was looking at you. I was like, he's definitely thinking something that's contradictory to what I'm saying right now.
I was like, you're giving me real like, well, but I don't wanna turn down the volume of the game
Yeah.
vibes.
Well, yeah. Sometimes I think it would generally confuse people
Yeah.
but I think it could just be me putting more importance on the flow
Uh-huh.
than is actually there actually needs to be.
Sure.
Like sometimes it's like for some games it's important, and for some people it's important. Some people are like, you cut off at the end of this video. I wanted to know who, or like I want to know who won this round or something.
Sure.
I want to know the
Well,
score.
and not to get, not to get like, uh like Dr. Phil on you or anything, but like
Doctor Phil, oh boy.
I just get a vibe of like it's not even it's not even like a God, how do I say this? Um I get this vibe that it's like I'm not really important in this video. The like flow is more important, or like
I do get of the opinion of myself sometimes where I am the collector of clips, not the creator of clips, so to
hmm,
speak. Like I've seen other people get jokingly referenced as the the person who just gets the clips that are funny
right,
and then puts them all together through their POV.
yeah,
Uh Sometimes it generally can feel like that. And it's an interesting spot because there are videos where I think I am particularly funny in, and there are videos where I think, man, the people I'm playing with were just on one, and I wasn't I wasn't ready for that level of comedy,
yeah,
but it's still a good video nonetheless.
yeah,
So, you know, it, there's balances and all sorts of this stuff. You know, I I I swing back and forth so much on this sort of thing where it's like this video is me focused versus this video is just me putting funny clips together. Like I have videos where I just kind of put my opinions out on things that I've started to do, which is
like that Halo video.
yeah, I did it for Halo and I did it for Star Wars, and they
Hmm.
both did, considering my normal metrics for just gameplay videos, they did very good.
Yeah,
Um, so I to go back to the 35 videos thing, I think I'm at a point where I'm at like the 35th, the second group of 35. I'm at the end of it.
sure,
I'm going into a new group of 35,
yeah,
and it's an interesting spot to be. Uh, it kind of feels like I'm on the edge of change, so to speak.
totally,
Uh,
totally, and I think I don't know, I think that I mean, okay, so uh 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 there so little background about me is that growing up I was my mom's therapist, and so
okay.
I always I definitely have like a caretaker instinct to a certain extent, and so just
Yeah.
like all the wholesome streamers, I always I always want to I always want to help in some way,
Yeah.
even if it's even if it's not asked for. So
No, I'm the same way with my sister. I'm
yeah,
all the time. Here's what you should do.
right. Well, and
I
like
especially love getting the "you were right."
yeah, totally. Well, and like that's definitely not. I try to stay away from like here's what you should do because it never heckin' works. But what I do
Yeah.
want to like impress upon you is that one, I think that uh, like you are very funny. Like in terms of what you were talking about, like your like your friends joking around, like you not being on their level or something. Like I think that you do bring a lot of comedy to the table. And then secondly, I also think, and maybe even more so, like in terms of like thinking about like Keck W and like your audience, I also think that you're incredibly insightful in terms of uh trying to think the right way to phrase it. We're different types of insightful. Like I'm very
Yeah.
insightful when it comes to people. Like I can look at a person and be like, this is this type of person, and I'm usually right.
Mm-hmm.
You can look at like a structure of something and say this structure could be improved this way, and you're usually right.
Yeah, I do like to think of myself more as like a big picture person
Yeah.
than a detail person, which
Yeah.
is perhaps why I have many things get lost in editing,
Yeah.
because if I can't figure out a small detail, it's easier for me to just look at
Zoom
the big
out.
picture, say, does this actually matter? And
Interesting.
if the small detail doesn't, then okay, I
See,
just
and so my like my person like therapist insight thing says like and like we're at an hour and a half interview, so like to sort of to sort of start to conclude, we don't have to like
yeah,
conclude really quickly or anything, but to start to conclude like um my therapist says like don't lose yourself in the zoom out, like you are by far the most important piece of your content. You
yeah,
have to be, otherwise there's no reason for you to be making content.
yeah.
So like be sure to like for instance, like that comment that I left on your Halo YouTube video where I was like, I love this YouTube video, I think the concept is really fascinating, but I really want to see your face, dude. Like I want to see you. I want to experience Tavasi.
There are so many cuts in that video that are imperceivable, just simply due to the fact that I recorded audio only, and I kind of love that. But yeah, I get that. I mean, that's kind of what we're doing here, I feel like.
Totally.
But I mean, those videos are, uh, believe it or not, completely unscripted. So, a lot of the time I just ramble, and then I I cut out the parts that make sense. Like there's a part in the Halo video where I said the same exact thing. I spent like 2 minutes on the same exact thing, 8 minutes after I had said it previously.
Nice.
I was like, okay, this is what you get when you ramble.
Cut that out.
Yeah, yeah, and it's gone. And okay.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, all of my like almost all of my videos are on. I think all of my videos are unscripted, and I very rarely edit.
I, that's I don't know if I could do that, but
I mean, I don't.
I'm not opposed to the idea of a face cam video with jump cuts. I think I did that at one point, but I have now since removed it because
It bothered you.
no, it was me talking about how I was going to upload every day in February, and then I didn't upload every day in February, so I was like, why is this video still up? It's just me lying.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. So
That makes me want to get into the discussion of like commitments,
yeah.
like setting commitments as a content creator. But I feel like that's a really long conversation, and I feel like we should wrap up.
Yeah, that would be a very long conversation. I can say, to me it boils down to I had a bank of footage that was unreasonable to get through.
Mm-hmm.
Like I record in like 4 hour increments. I'm like, I'm not gonna go through and edit 4 hours of footage,
Right.
so that has led me to changing how I record footage. I no longer just go, okay, I'm sitting down to play games for the night. Let's record footage for the entire night and just
Mm-hmm.
leave my recording running till I get off my computer. Uh, I now stop it when a game ends or something like that. So it's like when there's a chat, when there is something that would be a chat break becomes a recording break,
Oh,
and
interesting. That's a cool comparison.
it's when you're doing stuff offline, you kind of have to start making. I Video making process is a lot of creating systems for how you're going to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just go beginning to end of a recording and just kind of edit it as it goes, you can make a good video, but it really takes a whole lot of effort to make a very great video, and you have to be able to go back and forth, move stuff around, and mess with every single aspect of it, really.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to be known for editing, I guess is the caveat there. If
Well,
you just if your personality can carry it,
I
then
don't know.
more power to you.
I think that what you said is valid. That like if you wanna make a good video, you can do a little bit of editing and it'll come out a good video. If you want to make a great video, you have to get a
Yeah.
lot more creative with like every aspect of it. Both you have to be
Mhm.
creative with the technical and you have to be creative with the creative side, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, it there are things that you just need to be able to properly balance for how your personality meets what you're trying to display.
Yeah, yeah, and I think
So,
I think it's really cool because I think we're on opposite ends of the spectrum here. Where
I would
like
agree.
yeah, where
Yeah.
like you love the technological side and sort of shy away from the creative side, and I love the creative side and shy away from the technological side.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I watch technology videos. I don't know if you ever do, but I can watch a review of a phone and be like, "Man, I learned something and this is awesome." I don't even know I don't even have a metric to compare the thing I'm watching a video on, but
Yes, and this is a perfect example just from the types of videos we watch. You watch like tech review videos. I watch how to like grow your stream videos.
I will get to points where I watch those, but majority of the time I don't really watch stuff like that cuz I I don't really put a big emphasis on it.
Yeah,
At the moment, to me, it's just when I feel like I want to be creative, I kind of put stuff out,
yeah,
and that comes in waves for me. And sometimes the waves are longer than you expect them to be, and then sometimes when you want a wave to come, it doesn't show up.
right.
Like so, it's a very I mean, being creative isn't just something I can kind of force.
Mm,
You know, it's not something I can manufacture, which is uh maybe because I don't seek out as much creativity as I could, or maybe because a lot of the creative people I watch upload more on a month to month basis than a day to day basis or week to week basis.
sure.
So
Yeah, yeah,
I think it's just I have a lot of reflections in what I watch from what I create. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's
I
kind of
think I'm restraining myself from
starting another topic.
starting more topics because there's so many things I want to dive into, but we just I don't want to make a 2 hour interview. So
Yeah. Okay.
before we say our sweet goodbyes, is there anything else that you really want to talk about? Like you were like, oh, interview with tech, definitely talking about this, and we haven't talked about it yet.
Uh,
And it's okay if no.
I don't think I have anything I would specifically say we need to start talking about.
Okay.
We kind of hit all of the main points. I didn't expect to spend so much time talking about YouTube. I was kind of surprised about that, but
Well,
uh,
like
that is where I have done most of my content, technically
that,
speaking.
and I am in. I mean, in this, in the.
You're kind of starting that up. I feel like, or not
De-
starting it up, but
no,
you're
you're
in
right.
the upswing
You're right.
from the start.
And in the very limited time since I started this thing where apparently I interview streamers now, Um, I've thought about how it doesn't make sense to interview streamers strictly about Twitch because Twitch is no longer the platform to grow on. Twitch, you can
Yeah,
definitely make content for 100%. Like that's my Twitch is my money maker. but
yeah.
it's not the place to seek out growth.
That's actually an interesting point. Twitch is very easily monetizable,
Hmm.
but it's like a trade-off from monetizable to findable.
Right.
Because YouTube, technically speaking, I am more successful. Twitter, I'm way more successful. But I'm probably never going to see a dime from those things for a very long time.
Right.
But Twitch, in comparison, has given me payouts, and it is by far in numbers the lowest of any platform I'm on.
Yeah.
So I can, and it hasn't really been a discoverable place for
Long
4 or 5 years at this
Right.
point.
Right.
So managing where you can be discovered on versus where you can make money on is
Yeah.
an important place.
Yeah. And I think that they can help to motivate one another because like the fact that I'm monetarily like doing what I consider to be well on Twitch for me right now
Hmm.
helps me to continue doing what I'm doing on YouTube so that hopefully I can more people can see me and be like, I really like hanging out with this guy, and then they're like, oh, what? He hangs out on Twitch, okay, and then they go
Yeah.
over to Twitch.
Well, yeah, that's you kind of did it an interestingly almost opposite way of you grew for small streamers a decent amount,
Yeah,
and then you started up a YouTube channel, and most people who are like my size would probably have to start a YouTube channel in order to grow,
right,
which is I mean, at some point you're going to hit that wall where you need to kind of be on all social platforms, because there's always some people who are like only on Instagram or
right,
only watching YouTube, but they still are interested in what you will create.
right.
They just don't know it yet.
They fit
So,
they fit your target market, but they're not in the right
yeah,
place.
yeah, yeah. The net you cast doesn't hit your whole target market at this point in time,
Right.
so to speak.
And ultimately, well, anyway. Um
Yeah, yeah.
anyway, okay. Well, closing remarks.
Uh, find the balance is
Fine.
kind of probably something I've said like 5 times this
I
whole
do
session.
I do think that is sort of the thesis statement of this interview is find the balance
Yeah,
in so many different contexts.
yeah. I mean, there's a balance for every aspect of it, even more than you or like the average person may think on a surface level look. So
Yeah.
that would be my general speaking advice, is to find the balance between all aspects.
I
I
love it.
feel like I'm a Jedi master right now.
I love it.
Find the balance of all aspects of the Force.
Yes. And my closing statement is I think that my favorite part of this interview was like you helped me to find this question that I think is really interesting, which is find the game that serves your content. And I think
Yeah.
that that's a really good lesson in general, and I think
Hmm.
that it's a particularly interesting query for you specifically.
Yeah.
Uh,
A lot of people are focused more on the game than they do on their content. It's a good question to ask yourself not even just once, every once in a while.
yeah, yeah. Like is the and once you find a game that serves your content, then you start like you check in, and you say like, is this game still serving my content?
Yeah. While
Yeah.
you're farming the views.
All right. Well,
All right.
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I was when you said yes, I was like, oh, hype! It was so cool to
Yeah.
line up an interview during the premiere of the
Yeah.
interview.
Yeah. Yeah. I was kind of on that.
I was excited.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
Great talk, and good night.
Yeah. All right.